Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah. Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah.
In alhamdulillah, wa salam Allah wa rasulullah. Welcome to another session of our new series entitled Get to Know Your Lord. And this is the series that's based on the book written by Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli, which is also another Tawheed book, a book of Aqidah, a book dealing with our belief system. It's a book that teaches us what it means to believe in Allah and how to worship him in his oneness. And the thing I like about this book is that Sheikh Atli goes into detail breaking down the meaning of Allah's names as told to us by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the understanding that the companions had. Okay, so, and as we talked about in our previous class, as Muslims, we are obligated as Muslims to know the correct meaning of Allah's names. We cannot add to those meanings. We cannot take away from those meanings. We cannot distort the meaning. We cannot try to liken the meaning of his names to his creation. All of those things that we just talked about in our previous class. So last week, when I did the second part of this series, we covered a lot of information about Allah's names and attributes in this class. And I did make a quiz for you guys. And I apologize for being so late putting it up. You guys should have been working on it in between the classes. But let's take a look at the questions here. And I did post the quiz on Facebook and YouTube. For those of you who are listening to me via YouTube, please hit the subscribe to my channel button and the bell, and that way you will receive updates when I post up the information, the quizzes, and all that for the class. So I'm trying to make it big so you guys can see. Inshallah, you guys can see. Let's look at the first question. We spoke about how, when the Arabs use the name Allah, they usually follow it with another one of his names to show just how great a being Allah is. Which of the following do they follow it with? When you read a book, for example, you read the Quran or a hadith and they mention the name of Allah, they usually say, is it A, the majestic, or is it B, the most merciful? Because Allah is one of Allah's names too. It's one of his best names. But when the Arabs, again, I tell you, a lot of the hadiths are misconstrued because of the language. People don't understand the language. Well, here's why. Whenever you guys are reading a hadith or something that's translated in English, they'll follow it up, the name Allah, with this. Which of the following do they follow it up with? Is it the majestic or the most merciful? Who can answer that question? I don't see any hands up. That's a bad sign. And I got 32 people in here. Let's see. Let's start with Brother Tariq Izza. Go ahead. Brother Tariq?
Is it the majestic?
Okay, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Brother Ahmad said the most merciful. Which one do you guys think? How many of you believe it's the most majestic? Okay, mashallah, Brother Tariq is correct. And a lot of people will ask, why? Why is it not the most merciful? When Allah says his mercy encompasses everything, can anybody figure out why whenever, in the Arabic language, whenever the name of Allah is mentioned, it's followed up with the majestic, the most majestic? Can anybody figure out why? Why do the Arabs follow it up with the most majestic instead of the most merciful? Can anybody answer that question? It really makes sense. Go ahead, Mina.
I think you said that it was the most honorable thing you can say. It's the majestic.
Not so much honor. Go ahead, Ifti.
I think that instead of the most merciful, people can emulate that trait, but majestic, only Allah can be majestic.
Exactly. This is why I tell you guys, keep an English dictionary. Look up the meaning of majestic. Oh my God, this is the number one thing. Remember, Allah is the greatest. He's above everything. He's above his creation. Nothing can duplicate him. Nothing can resemble him. Nothing can out-trump him. So what's a good English term? Majestic. That's what majestic means. Majestic refers to the best, the number one. Okay, and that's the first thing we have to acknowledge about Allah. We know when we teach about Allah, if a person is new to Islam, the first thing I'm going to teach you is that Allah is the most majestic, that there is nothing like him. No one can imitate him. No one can duplicate him. He's the one that controls everything. He is majestic. And that's why, like Ifti said, we don't refer to other human beings as being majestic. None of us are majestic. This is a characteristic that only belongs to Allah. We're just humans. We make mistakes. A majestic being doesn't make mistakes. A majestic being has no imperfections. So majestic, and by the way, Dr. Asim would tell you, in Arabic, that don't mean that. But that's the closest we can get in English. Yeah. Dr. Asim would tell you that don't mean that in the Fusha, but that's the closest that we can get in our language, majestic or omnipotent. I would say omnipotent too, but omnipotent is a word that we don't use no more. It's a dead language word. But that's the closest we could get to the true meaning of what the Arabs say when they write after Allah's name this in Arabic, okay? So yeah, that you got to teach people that Allah is the most omnipotent, the most majestic first, and then teach him about his mercy and stuff. Because if they understand that he's the most majestic, then they will believe in him. And like she said, none of us could ever duplicate that. Good job. Okay, let's look at question number 2. I try to keep it simple because I didn't give y'all enough time to prepare. I just made it a true or false question. True or false? A person can never be a true believer until he or she loves and hates for the sake of Allah. Is this statement true or false? What do you guys think? A person can never be a true believer until he or she hates and loves for the sake of Allah. What do you guys think about that? Is that true or false? Go ahead, Shakur.
I believe that's true.
Okay, mashallah, her answer is correct. How many of us do that? So this is one of the ways, like Bethany will send me a question, an email every now and then. Well, all the time now. Now that she got my text, I don't mind, keep texting me. She texts me all the time now. But anyway, she's always asking, Sister Layla, how can I check and tell if I've grown? Am I closer to Allah? Am I truly a believer? Well, this is something you look for within yourself. Do you love and hate for the sake of Allah? Until we do that, we ain't a believer. What does it mean to love and hate for the sake of Allah? Anybody know what it means? Most Muslims don't even know what it means. What does it mean to love and hate for the sake of Allah? Would like to answer it. Go ahead, Sister Shakur, finish it up. Go ahead, since you started it. Go ahead.
It means putting aside what it is that you personally would love or personally would hate, your feelings, your own personal justifications, and literally loving because Allah loves it, because He says to love it, because there's good in it. Hating it because He says there's evil in it, and there's evil in it, and it's bad for you, and He hates it. And that's what it has nothing to do with you. It's all about Allah and what He wants.
Perfect. That's how we answer questions. Thank you for joining the Zoom. She always typed it on Facebook, but it always sounds better when you hear it. That's what it means. I want each and every one of you to look at yourself. Do you love what Allah loves? Do you hate what He hates? I hate to break it to you. Those of you who celebrate birthdays, you can never call yourself a true believer. You're just a Muslim. But can I call you a believer? No, because you have to hate what Allah hates. Allah hates anyone to think that they're worthy of worship other than Him. I ain't calling you no kafir. I'm just telling you that you a Muslim. Like the Prophet said, just a Muslim, not a believer. How many of you women hate polygamy? If you hate anything that Allah made lawful, you're not a believer. How many of you brothers hate Layla Nashiba for wearing makeup? Hello? Hands up. How many of you brothers listening and watching me hate me because I wear makeup? You're just a Muslim, Aki. I don't care how many Islamic universities, which don't mean nothing, by the way, you graduated from. Until you learn to love everything that Allah loves. And Allah says He loves everything He made lawful. And until you make your heart only hate what Allah hates, you ain't no believer. You just a Muslim. Okay? How many of you hate the rain? How many of you hate the snow? How many of you hate the sun to shine in your eye? Hello. Until you only hate what Allah hates. Just a Muslim. And this is something that really penetrated me when Sheikh Morsi, who is my personal teacher, 30 years ago. I remember I used to say, oh, I hate the snow. That's why y'all don't hear me say it no more. I can't stand it. I hate the winter. And the reason I hated the winter was because I'm afraid to drive in the snow. I was afraid to drive in the snow, and I had to go to work every day, and I knew I couldn't call off from work because of the weather. So I used to say I hate when it snows because I gotta go. But I used to say I hate winter. And I remember Sheikh Morsi told me, stop that. He said, you're just a Muslim, Layla. I said, what's wrong with that? He said, you ain't no believer. He said, why would you hate something that Allah brings about good from? He said, don't say that you hate wintertime. Instead, say that you just don't like the fact that you have to drive to work in the snow. That driving to work in the snow every day makes you afraid. Say that. But don't say that you hate something that Allah brings about good. When Sheikh Morsi told me that, I said, oh, wow, I never thought of that. I am saying I hate what Allah loves. So I stopped saying it. I don't hate the winter no more. And now that I've retired, winter's become one of my favorite seasons now because I don't have to go nowhere. I can sit here and look out this window and watch the beautiful trees and watch the snow. And hey, it ain't snowed much here since I moved back though. But I can look out the window and just enjoy Allah's beauty, Allah's majesty, His majesticness. So again, guys, this is something that every one of us has to work on. We have to train our souls to love what Allah loves and to only hate what He hates. And Allah says the things He hates are the things He made haram. So teach yourself to hate drugs, to hate alcohol, to hate fornication, to hate pornography, to hate lying, to hate cheating, to hate disrespecting adults. Teach yourself to hate those things and train yourself to love everything else that he made lawful. Y'all understand that? Until we do that, we'll never be a believer. Powerful, ain't it? So like I say, how many of us are believers? Most of us are just mere Muslims. Mere Muslims. Okay? All right, look at the next question. When using the names of Allah, they should be accompanied by the word el in Arabic. El means the. So if I'm going to say, I should say the majestic, the most merciful, the most patient, the all endearing. Is that true or false? When using the names of Allah, they should be followed by or accompanied with the Arabic word el, which means the, when we're referring to Allah. When referring to Allah, we use el or the. Is that true or false? When referring to Allah by his names, we use the word el or the. What do you guys think? This is a simple question. True or false? Think about it. It ain't hard. Go ahead, Mina.
True.
Exactly. This is true. So if we're going to call upon Allah, if you're going to make dua, oh Allah, do you say, oh Allah, majestic? Oh Allah, merciful? Oh Allah, patient? No, you're going to say, oh Allah, the majestic. Oh Allah, the merciful. Oh Allah, the patient. Good job. But what about this? What if I wanted to refer to someone else as being patient or someone else as being honorable? Do I use the word the? What do you guys think of that? If I'm going to say that, refer to Anissa as being honest, am I going to use the L? Go ahead, Anissa. Go ahead, AY.
No,
Why
because
not?
because the L belong only to Allah.
Exactly, because El is the most is only belonging to Allah. That's why we have to be careful the names we give our children. Don't name your children Al-Rahman. Don't name your children As-Sabur, the most patient. This is only belongs to Allah. You can name your children Abdul Sabur. Okay, Abdul Rahman. Okay, which means servant of. But don't name your children that with the. Good job. Okay, let's look at the next question. This is all from last week's class. What are some things that we should not do when we study the attributes of Allah? Now, the attributes refers to Allah's actions. Or how he describes himself, how he rose above his throne, how he has two hands, that type of thing. What should we not do when we are referring to Allah's attributes? There's many things we shouldn't do, but give me one. Go ahead, Ifti.
Not to call on his attributes.
Good job. When we call upon Allah, don't call upon him using his attributes. And we just completed the class on this. Kareem Abu Zayd's class that I just taught, we talked about this. Y'all should be able to come up with some more. Good job, Ifti. Sister Melion, Sister Khadija, Sister Muna, Sister Muslima, Brother Norto. What are some more things we should not do when calling upon when using Allah's attributes? Sister Hadia too. What are some more things we should not do when we are using Allah's attributes? Or when studying his attributes? Go ahead, Faiza.
questioning how, for example, how did Allah rise above his throne or raise above his throne? So not
Exactly.
to question it.
Exactly. Don't question them. We just talked about that in the other class, guys. Don't question how or why when we talk about his attributes. Good job, Pfizer. What else should we not do? Anyone else with some more that we shouldn't do when we speak about his or study his attributes? Don't try to go ahead, Jamila.
Don't swear using his names, his
Okay.
attributes.
Okay, we talking about what we shouldn't do when we're studying about the attributes. Okay, we should not. What we just talked about it in our previous class. Go ahead, Mina.
To deny, right? Or is that the same
Right.
thing?
Don't deny them. Exactly. If Allah says he's got two hands, he's got two hands. Don't deny that. If Allah said he rose above his throne, don't ask how or why. Don't ask. Don't question it. Just accept it. What else? Come on, guys. We just went over this. That lady across from me got an autistic son, and boy, I guess he was running across the street. And she getting on him. She's right. You don't run across the parking lot without looking. He's autistic. She's still being really good with him. Okay, anyone else? What else did we just talk about? We don't also. Go ahead, AY.
We cannot also make dua using the.
Okay, no. We just went over this stuff in Boo Kareem's that class I just taught. The 4 is 5 things, guys. Okay, we do not question how or why about his attributes. Okay, come on, guys. What's some more? Go ahead, Ifti.
Not to change the way we call on him.
Exactly. Don't distort them. Don't distort his attributes to mean something that they don't mean. Okay, don't twist around and try his hands to be 2 right hands to mean that he got a foot stuck in there too. What else? The main one y'all didn't mention. We do not do, what is it that Muslims are doing today with Allah's attributes? I had a picture of a man up. What is that called?
Liken his.
Right. Don't liken his attributes to us. Don't try to compare Allah's attributes to you. Don't try to say Allah got 2 eyes. His eyes are blue. They're blonde. They're green like ours. Don't liken him to his creation. Okay? When we're discussing Allah's attributes, don't ask how or why. Do not deny them. Do not distort or change them. And do not liken them to his creation. Okay, everybody understand that? Good job, brother Ahmad. Don't deny them. Don't distort them. Don't liken them to his creation. Y'all remember that those are the top 3, because those are the top 3 that people are doing today. Okay? Okay, good job. What about this? True or false? The attributes of Allah can be taken from his names. In other words, if you know the names of Allah, some of his attributes are derived from his names, from some of those names. For example, Allah is the most merciful. Does he have an attribute that's derived from that? So true or false, the attributes of Allah can be taken from his names. True or false? Who knows that answer? Common sense. Think about it. Go ahead, Faiza.
It's true.
Exactly. This is true. For example, Allah is the most merciful. That's why he shows mercy. Allah forgives. To be forgiving, that's an attribute. Allah is forgiving. That's taken from his name as being the one who forgives all. Okay? Allah can see. That's from his attribute. Allah is the all-seeing. Allah has intellect that none could ever comprehend. That's from his name, which means Allah is the all-knowing. So, mashallah, good job, Faiza. This is true. You guys are making it harder on yourselves. You're overthinking. This is common sense stuff. We done went over this stuff in the class with Abu Karim's book. This stuff should be repetitious to you by now. Okay, look at the next question. What about this? True or false? The names of Allah can be taken from his attributes. Is that true or false? Go ahead, Zarina.
It's false. We can only go by the names that Allah gave us. So
okay. Give me an example as to how you cannot derive a name from an attribute.
Allah is the greatest. That's one of his attributes, but
is that an attribute or is that a name?
That's an attribute.
Okay, so look at the question. True or false? The names of Allah can be taken from his attributes. You gave an example of the other question. A name, can an attribute be taken from a name? Yes. For example, Allah is the greatest. He says he's great. Now, I want you to give me an example as to how you cannot take a name from an attribute. What's an attribute of Allah? Give me an attribute.
Allah is a forgiver.
Is that a name or an attribute? This is how Muslims get lost today. Y'all don't know the difference between an attribute.
I thought the attribute was a description of how Allah describes himself, but his name.
Okay, what is
the name?
Give me an attribute then. Give me an attribute of Allah.
I think.
Yeah, anybody else? Similar. This is where none of y'all can probably do it, except probably Pfizer. Give me an attribute. Somebody give me one of Allah's attributes. Go ahead, Mina.
Shakur, the most.
Don't you dare
play
the Arabic game. What does Shakur mean in English? Oh, girl,
the most ready, appreciated.
Okay, so now we don't speak Arabic here. So I want you to give me an example as to how you cannot derive a name of Allah's from an attribute. Go ahead.
I was kind of confused at this when I was trying to explain. Okay.
Give me let me help walk you through it. The Pfizer, put your hand down. Mina, give me an attribute. Tell me an attribute of Allah. Can you
hear me? I'm sorry.
Tell me one of Allah's attributes.
Al-Shakur, the one I said.
Je suis français. Je la comprends.
Okay.
Can you give me
the most appreciated?
Tell me an attribute of Allah. You're just talking. Girl, let me tell you, I can give attribute of my mother. Girl, my mother loved to roll. Give me an attribute of Allah. Just tell me one of Allah's attributes.
All wise.
Is that a name or an attribute?
I'm sorry.
I didn't ask for a name of Allah.
Okay.
I want y'all, listen.
Okay.
You Muslims today, y'all better get with it. I didn't ask for one of Allah. Take your 99 names and put it to the side somewhere. I asked for an attribute. What is it? First of all, somebody look in a dictionary and tell me what attribute means. Somebody go to dictionary.com and tell me what an attribute is. Or what's a synonym for attribute? I can give you an attribute about me. I'm very trustworthy. I'm brutally honest. This is not a name. If you were to give me, if somebody were to ask you to give me some attributes of Sister Layla, attributes is another name for characteristic. Well, one thing about Sister Layla, she's brutally honest. That's an attribute. She always speaks the truth. That's an attribute. She's trustworthy. That's an attribute. She's consistent. That's an attribute. Okay? She's sensitive. That's an attribute. She can be self-centered. That's an attribute. Okay? She's passionate. That's an attribute. Y'all know what an attribute is now? An attribute is something that describes a person. We call it characteristics. Those people into zodiac signs call it your traits. I'm not asking you to give me any of Allah's names. I'm asking you guys to tell me of one of his characteristics or his attributes. Take your 99 name book and throw it in the closet for right now. We're talking about attributes. This class, what makes this book go hand in hand with what we're learning in the other class, Sheikh Atlee is breaking down the attributes of Allah. You're learning the names of Allah in the other class. Give me an attribute of Allah, Mina.
Merciful.
Didn't we just do that one?
Oh. Forgiving. He's forgiving.
Okay, Zarina, let's hear from you. No, Muna. Let's get the kids in here. Muna, give me an attribute.
He's self-efficient.
Thank you. That's an attribute. Self-sufficient. What does it mean to be self-sufficient? Can anybody tell me what does it mean to be self-sufficient? Children always do better than these crazy adults. A person that's self-sufficient is something, or something that is self-sufficient is something that is not dependent on anyone or anything else. It's something that can take care of itself. So Allah is self-sufficient. That's an attribute. Can I make a name up from that? Anybody? Can any of you try to make up a name from self-sufficient? It's impossible, ain't it? It's impossible. Okay? So the names of Allah. Okay, and this is the question here. And that's why I'm trying to get y'all to see, but y'all don't even know what a daggone attribute is. Y'all better get them English skills together. Forget about trying to speak Arabic. Y'all don't know English. Okay, the attributes, the names of Allah cannot be taken from his attributes. I cannot make up a name from being self-sufficient. Self-sufficient is an action. It's an action. It entails providing, maintaining yourself independently. It's an action in English. Whereas a name is a noun. Y'all get it? If I were to do this in English, attributes are actions, whereas names are nouns. Y'all get it? You get it now, Mina? So that's why you cannot make a noun out of an action. In English language, you cannot make a noun out of an action. She's walking. I'm walking. Walking is a verb. Walking is an action verb. Can I make up a name called Walker? Walking? No, there's no such thing. The Walker doesn't make no sense, does it? If I made up a name called the Walker, does that make sense? What do you mean the Walker? We can't do that. Well, that's how it is with the Arabic here too. You know, you can derive from Allah's attributes, names, but you cannot derive names from the attributes. Just like in English, I'm running. Running is an action. It's a verb. So you're going to give me a name? The runner. That doesn't make sense. We don't make up names that way because she runs. Because she runs. Let's call her the runner. That doesn't make sense. Well, the same with this. You can derive the attributes of Allah from his names, but not the names from his attributes. Does everybody get it now?
Yes. Can I ask a question?
Yes, I get it.
First of all, when I was growing up, we always was taught those were the attributes of Allah, and now I'm learning. I know what an attribute is, but that's what we call them, the attributes of Allah, because it says that it's a quality or a description associated with a person, thing, or thing.
I don't know what you talking about, girl.
No, I'm saying the word attribute. We used to call the names of Allah attributes. And then when I was saying that, when I was answering you, I was saying that we cannot call Allah by any names except the ones that He has given us. Have told us. So that's why when I answered you, I said that. So I was
I don't know what
confused.
you're talking about, because you misread the question. The answer you gave me was for question 1.
My answer was that we can't. Allah gave us His names, and we can't make up names for Him.
That's not
Allah
the
gave
question, though. The question is, the attributes of Allah can be taken from his names. That's a true false question.
I was reading the last one. I'm sorry. I thought I was answering the last one.
What last one?
The names of Allah can be taken from his attributes, and I said false because Allah gave us 99 names. We can't just make up names for him. That was my answer.
She done confused me. I don't know what. Anyway, we are on number 7. I don't know what you're talking about, Serena. But anyway, that wasn't the answer. Whatever you gave was not the answer. The answer is what whoever gave the right answer, I said you're right. That's the answer. Okay. The bottom line is the names of Allah cannot be taken from his attributes. Do y'all understand that? But the attributes can be taken from his names. You understand that, Zarina? I don't know what you was talking about, but do you understand? We cannot say that because Allah rose over his throne, you cannot call him the riser. Do you get it? What I'm teaching now, Zarina? I don't care what you learned as no kid, because what you learned as a kid was probably Qadariya. I don't know. But an example. One of Allah's attributes is he rose over his throne. So can I make up the name the riser over the throne, Zarina?
No, I understood that. I was just
but
saying.
That's
I was
the
answering
answer.
a different question.
I don't know what you was talking about, but this ain't the answer. Does everybody else understand? We cannot do. This is what the Qadariya do today. And I gave examples in the class I taught. The Masons, they refer to Allah as being the architect over the universe. Is that one of Allah's names? No. But they made it up based on the action that he created the universe. Do you get what I'm saying now, Zarina?
Yes, all I was saying is that I wasn't disagreeing with you or saying anything Qadariya. I was just saying that Allah gave us 99 names. We can't call him. Give him
Zarina,
any other names.
I think you're taking everything personal.
Okay.
You're not disagreeing with me or agreeing. Baby, I'm teaching y'all a class.
No, I said I understand.
Yeah, I think you're reading too much into this. I think you taking stuff personal, baby.
Oh, no. I just was trying to understand the question. That's all.
Faiza, help me out. I don't want my baby to think I'm being harsh on her or anything. Faiza, am I missing something?
No, I think she's just overthinking, but I think you got it.
Yeah, I think you overthinking, Zarina. You got it, baby. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, you don't have to explain it, sweetheart. All right. It's kind of difficult for everybody. Even with me, I had to go through this too. I mean, subhanAllah with Sheikh Morty. Like I say, y'all, I was horrible at this too. Okay, so
I don't think you're being too hard on me. I was just trying to understand how to break it down.
I'm just trying to give y'all better examples. I
understand better now.
Yeah, the attributes are the actions, guys. And I think that was a good one I just gave. One of the imams is telling me yes. Okay, hold on. Let me read this text from. Yeah. Okay, so I did it right. Okay, the Sheikh Mo Main just told me to use the example. Allah rose over his throne. We cannot say that Allah is the riser over the throne just because he rose. I gave that example, and he said that's that's how it goes. You get it? In English, actions, things that Allah do, what the innovators do is they try to make it a name. We don't do that. Because he rose over the throne, you cannot call him the riser over the throne. Because he constructed the universe, we cannot call him the architect of the universe. What else, baby? Okay? Because he has two hands, the old man telling it. Because he has two left hands, we cannot give him the name, the owner of the two left hands. Do you guys understand now? Zarina, Mina,
Yes.
everybody? So
Yes.
that's the point, and that's the question I was asking here. I wanted y'all to, and I was trying to put it in a way without giving the answer up. The attributes of Allah can be taken from his names, but we cannot take the names of Allah from his attributes. That's the point. Thank you, old man. Thank you. That's the point we was trying to make. Y'all got it? So let's look at the last question. Is it permissible to call upon Allah using his attributes? What do y'all think about that? Can I call upon Allah using his attributes? Go ahead, Melion.
I would say no, because Allah tells us in the Quran himself that to him belongs all the beautiful names, and he tells us to call upon him by those names, not the attributes.
Okay, let me look at what he typing. Exactly. Example. Your English is bad, bro. Let me put it in right. When making dua, you cannot say, "Oh, riser of the throne. Oh, architect of the universe. Oh, owner of two left hands." Am I getting it right? Yeah. That's what we cannot do when we make dua. Y'all understand that? Instead, when you make dua, you say, "Oh Allah, the most magnificent, the most merciful, the most forgiving, the all-knowing, the possessor of all of that." But we cannot say, "Oh owner of the two left hands, oh riser above the throne, oh builder of the Kaaba, bestower of life and death." We cannot call upon Allah using those his attributes. Y'all get it? Instead, we call upon him using his great names. That's the point Sheikh Atli's trying to make in this book. Or those in that first two chapters. Y'all get it now? Everybody with me? Nobody's confused? Did I explain it right, bro? I got it right? Thank you. Okay, so remember that, guys. Don't call, and from what they saying here, the Shiites and the Sufis both do that. The Sufis and the Shiites, they call upon Allah through his attributes. This is something that we do not do. Okay, y'all get that? So only use his names. Those 99 names that he gave to us. Go ahead, Jamila.
I just wanted to ask a question. So calling upon his name, like one of his names is, I hope I say it right, Sabor, but yeah. I know what that means. He has the patience. He have more patience. So that's his attribute, right?
That's also an attribute. That was the question that Pfizer answered for y'all. Some of his names are also attributes, but none of his attributes are names. Y'all get it?
So we just call on his names when we're making dua.
If you're
But
if you're using those 99 names and you're using names, you're not using attributes. I'm trying to make it easy for y'all.
but we must understand.
Some of Allah's names are also attributes in English. Okay? But rising above the throne ain't. Create the architect of the universe ain't. So the bottom line is, when we non-Arabic speaking people, let me see if I can put this right. Imams, y'all help me out. Old man, help me if you need to. For those of us who are English speaking, to not fall into the mistake of doing what the innovators do, use those 99 names when y'all call upon Allah. And you ain't got to figure out nothing else. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's it.
Alhamdulillah.
That's the easiest way to get around it. You ain't got to figure out if the name is one of his names is As-Sabur, As-Sabr. So, oh Allah, As-Sabr. Oh Allah, Ar-Rahman. Oh Allah, Hu Akbar. Do that and you good. Y'all get it?
I got it now, Sister Layla.
And that's the easiest way around that. And Imam is in here laughing. That's right. That's the easy way around it. Because you don't speak Arabic, you don't understand it. And I said, this is another example. I keep telling y'all, the problem with non-Arabic people understanding religion is the language. Okay? Don't try to figure it out. Just call upon him on those names that you know. And you ain't got to use all 99. You can use one. If only name you know is El Akbar. Oh Allah. Hu Akbar. Forgive me of my sins. And you good to go. Y'all get it? See how simple that is?
Yeah, that was simple to me. I was just going to say that because I was confused.
Hu Akbar. Oh Allah. Ar-Rahman. Nirahim. You good to go. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Jamila? Because it can get, Arabic is a different language. Some of those names are actually, but you ain't got to figure none of that out. Just call upon him using any of those names. Don't ever do like the innovators do and say, oh, riser of the throne, which I know none of you would say that. Oh, the one who calls my son, you know, y'all know y'all wouldn't do that either. Y'all got it?
Yeah, I got it. I mean, the thing is that yes, I call upon the names that I know.
Right.
It's 99 names, but as far as the attributes, I don't go there. But I kind of understand that. I understand that name that goes with. I understand the attribute that goes with that name.
Yeah.
But usually, if I'm really distressed, I say, "Oh Allah, you're the Sakina." I need that tranquility. I need that tranquility.
When y'all start using Arabic, that's how y'all get messed up.
I ask him to bring tranquility to my life.
That's nothing wrong with that.
So that's why I use the word Sakina, to bring tranquility. So now I understand that call on his names in whatever situation you're in.
Right. And that's why, and I make do in English. Because I know what I'm saying. Even though I know a little bit of the Fusha, all my supplications are in English. Ifti is Arabic too. But Arabic wasn't her first language either. We make our duas in English because that way I know I ain't messing up. Y'all got to stop trying to play the Arabic kick. That's what I tell people all the time. When I talk to Allah, Jayla and them will tell you I'm talking plain grassroots English. Oh Allah. You are the most magnificent. You are the all-forgiving. You are the hearer of everything. That's what I say. Make this woman downstairs stop calling the police on me. I'm sick of her, Allah. And oh Allah, I need peace of mind. I done struggled. I done walked down these lonely roads. Allah, help me. That's how I talk to him. I talk to Allah the same way I would talk to anybody else. That's my relationship. And you guys need to develop a relationship with your Lord. Allah understands whatever language y'all speak. Stop playing with a language you don't know and use your own. I don't never throw Arabic in there. I'm always English in it because I know what I'm saying. And I want Allah to hear me, which he hears anyway. And Allah don't hold us accountable for our mistakes anyway. But I speak from my heart. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said the best supplication, the best call from Allah comes from your heart. A woman came to him one day. She said, "Oh Prophet of Allah, I'm going through some hard times." She said, "Can you make dua for me?" He said, "I could, but you could also make dua for yourself." He said, "Because you understand your hardships, your problems better than I do or anyone else. And no one can speak to Allah about what you going through better than you can." He said, so it would be better if you make your own dua. The best supplication comes from your heart. And that's what I've been telling non-Arabic speaking Muslims ever since I've been a dawah. Why are y'all on this Arabic kick when you don't know what you're saying? Just talk to your Lord in your language. Now it's different when we making salat. El-Fatiha is El-Fatiha, and you better say it. Tashahud, Tashahud, say it. But your personal supplication, your personal talk, use your language. Haven't I been teaching y'all that?
I agree with you, Sister Layla. That's,
if y'all would do
English
that,
is all I know.
yeah,
English
I'm
is all I know. I only know just a few of something in Arabic. I don't use that when I'm home or when I'm praying or when I'm talking to Allah. No, it's English because I understand. He understands my language.
Yeah, but you gave a good example. Don't call upon him using an attribute. Call upon him using his names. Yeah, but you gave a good example of that. And that's what we talking about. When you call upon Allah, guys, call upon him with his names, not his attributes. Is that a name of Allah? So for those of you who do use Arabic, when y'all call upon him, you check to see if it's one of his names. If it's not one of his names, don't use it no more. That's what that's the best thing I can tell you. You know, the 99 names that we do know of as Muslims, check to see if that's one. So what's the one you use? So anybody got the list of 99 names? I'm gonna show you how easy to do it. I don't want none of y'all to feel discouraged. Just check. What are the names? Is that what's the name that you said you use? I forgot. What was the one you said? We're gonna look it up real quick, see if it's a name.
She said tranquility.
Is that one of Allah's names?
No, it's a Sakina.
Okay, look, I'm gonna show y'all how easy this is. I'm a screen share.
Sakina is tranquil, right?
Wait a minute. Where's my?
Yes.
I'm gonna show y'all. All y'all do is this. Look at my screen. Go to a website, click them names up, and look for it. What is your name? She says she used Sakina or something. There's Salam. This is all y'all got to do. There's Sami, Shakur. I think somebody mentioned that. Here we go. Shahid. Hello. Just go look for the name. Samad. Go through the S's. You see any more S's? Come on. Sabur. It's not a name. So don't use it. Y'all see how I did that? And I know all the names. But I'm showing y'all how to check to be sure. Go to a website that has all the 99 names listed. Okay? And if you are in the habit of making dua, and you think that you're using a name, make sure. Ar-Rahman, here they all are. Salam. If you don't see the name there, then don't use it no more. You got it, Sister Jamila? Was this the easy way to do it? The Imam's telling me right on. Yeah. Does y'all get this? Easy. And this is what the Prophet said. The religion is easy. It's the job of you, dawah, to not make it hard. Rather than these sisters worry about they do it, just pick it up on the screen. Is it lit? If it ain't listed, don't use it, because it's an attribute, and keep it moving. And that is an attribute. Keep it moving. Everybody got it? You can ask him to give that to you, but just don't call upon him with it. Don't call upon him saying, "Oh, the tranquility." I could have told. I mean, you can tell it's an attribute, but don't call upon him saying, "Oh, just say you are the one who can give tranquility." You can do that, like you said you do, but don't call upon him with it.
The back of the book also has the names. Book, Know Your Lord.
Oh, see, I didn't know. I'm screen sharing to show y'all how simple you got to do. You ain't got to go through no guessing and second guessing and doubt, because Shaitan wants you to doubt. Shaitan wants you to lose hope. Shaitan wants you to shirk. Shaitan wants you to. So I'm trying to knock him out the way. Flip a page up. It ain't, listen, I don't use it no more, and keep it moving. That's all. Go ahead, Zarina.
Yes, alhamdulillah. I was just about to say, you broke it down. I know that's your expression. Broke it down, and it's easy, and I understand. I guess you just basically confirmed, like, yeah, some of his names are attributes. Don't only call on the ones that I know. If I know it's a name of Allah, then I will call on him by that name if I know the meaning, and that's what we do anyway. As I never tried to make up a name, so Allah gave us 99 names, and I can call on him in English. I speak English. Say it in English, and it's so easy, and I love it. So thank you for explaining it.
Thank you, Sister Layla.
Yeah, I'm just saying you made it easy, you broke it down, so thank you.
You did.
She looked confused.
No, I'm not confused anymore.
No, from before, I was overthinking it. So I was just saying you did break it down. I understand, because you just explained it.
Yeah.
Never mind, Sister Layla.
Okay, yeah, but that's what y'all do. Seriously, guys, just if you want to know, because there's other questions on here too. That's why I'm doing that too. I'm dealing with y'all and also looking down here at my little messages that's going crazy. I got the imams texting me, the old Maine, and I got Bethany and Elizabeth, and I don't know who this. By the way, change your name. I don't like that. I don't answer to funny nicknames. And I don't know how you got my text anyway, whoever this is. Oh, here we go with the Arabic. Hold on. I'm sorry. I know who you are. Okay, but yeah, that's how y'all can know, because I know it can, when a lot of Muslims, when you learn about the names and attributes, a lot of them say, well, Sister Layla, I didn't know that wasn't a name. I mean, but some of his names are attributes, and just to be safe, just stick to the list. If it ain't on the list, and you ain't got to go, you don't have to call upon him with all those attributes. Just use what you know and keep it moving. And don't forget to send blessings upon the prophet. We ain't talked about that yet. If you want your supplications to be answered, guys, you got to send blessings upon the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Otherwise, you can use all them names you want to. Allah is going to withhold it. Allah is not going to even consider your supplication, your call upon him, unless you bless our Prophet. That's important. So we can go through all this, and if you ain't sending blessings upon him, Allah ain't paying it no attention. You can call him El Majestic and everything else. Send those blessings upon the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everybody got that? Okay, Ahmad, we can't use attributes as names. Right, but we can, what? Yeah, right. We can't call him the riser. Exactly. You cannot refer to Allah as being the riser over the throne, or the one possessing two left hands. That's disrespect. Even in English, guys, think about it. When you think about that, even in our language, isn't that kind of disrespectful? The one who has two hands. Would you talk to your mother that way, or your father? Girl, please, that's disrespectful. I wouldn't refer to my Lord as that anyway. The one who rose up. I mean, it just sounds inappropriate. Yeah, but the innovators are doing that today. All right, any other questions on this? And this was just from those little 5 pages that we went over last week. Let's put the PowerPoint up. We ain't even started the lecture yet. Here's the lecture. Okay. Here's the lecture, guys. All right. Let's see. I'm just reading these text messages. And I got my cat here. All right, here we go. All right. Session 3. And by the way, I did post up the pages for today's session. Today, we're going to speak about how to worship Allah with his names and attributes and the benefits of doing so. Okay? First of all, our belief in Allah is the most important thing in our way of life, because if your belief system is not correct, then none of your good deeds are accepted. You're no different than a Christian. Christians can do all the good deeds they want to, but it's not going to get them nothing in the hereafter because their belief system was not correct. And so Allah has created many great resources for us that will help strengthen our belief in him. And that way also cause us to not become weak in our belief in him. And one of the greatest resources is learning Allah's names, like we're doing today. All this time that we're putting in on his names and attributes will help strengthen and better your relationship with him. Okay? Listen to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that same hadith. Allah has 99 names minus one. Whoever learns them will enter paradise. And again, Sheikh Atlee broke it down in his book, what it means. This means not just memorizing them, but it means understanding the meaning and then applying it and acting upon them. This is how we enter paradise. Okay? So we have to take, like, for example, some of Allah's names, like Dr. Asim is teaching us in his class, which will be on which is Saturday. Some of Allah's names we cannot emulate. An example is majestic. We cannot emulate being majestic because we are not perfect. We make mistakes all the time. There's no imperfection in Allah. So we cannot emulate that. So some of his names we cannot emulate, but others we can, like practice being forgiving, as Sister Jamila said. Practice being more merciful to others, not holding grudges against others, being more understanding of others. We can do others of his names, but some of them we can't, okay? But the ones that we can do, we should try to implement them in our life, okay? Because knowledge of Allah's names is the foundation of our belief, okay? Knowledge of his names, that's what helps us to understand that he is the Lord of all mankind and jinn. Knowledge of his names help us to understand that he is the only one possessing of, in my word, omnipotence. Knowledge of his names, helps us to submit to him, to obey him, and it keeps us from disobeying him. So this is why we need to focus on that, not only with ourselves, but also with our children. The greater we become in our knowledge of Allah's names and their implementation, then the stronger we become in our practice of this religion, okay? The harder it is for Shaitan to pull us away from Siratul Mustaqim, all right? So that brings us to a question that many people ask. When we talk about learning Allah's names, what do we mean by that? Well, listen to what one of the early scholars said. He said to learn Allah's names doesn't mean to just memorize and be able to recite them. Instead, it means to reflect upon their meanings, to believe in their meanings, and to work in accordance to those names. Also, another one of the scholars said, to understand the meaning of Allah's names is a means to work with Allah in accordance with the fruits of those names. It will help to develop your love, your hope, your fear, your dependency, and all of that upon him. And this is something that we emphasize here at Sunnahfollowers a lot. You know, it's important. This is why I'm always taking y'all back to these names. You know, it's important for us to understand these meanings. That's why I tell y'all carry a dictionary. Okay? Also, as Muslims, what separates us from the Christians, the Jews? We don't just say we believe in Allah. We show it throughout the day. We take the time to worship Allah 5 times a day or more, okay? We take the time to thank Allah, to remember him as often as we can. When we're driving in our cars, we remember Allah, we glorify him, we praise him, okay? When we're going through hardships in our lives, we call upon him for help. So most of our time as Muslims is spent worshiping Allah, whereas these other people claim to believe in him and they don't. They may worship him only when something bad happens to him, or maybe once a week. Okay? And when we worship Allah, we do exactly what Sister Jamila was speaking about before the lecture. You know, we always show our respect for Allah by calling upon him. We don't just say, hey, what's up, dude? I got a problem. I need you to move this lady from downstairs. No, we don't do that. We show respect for Allah. And we do that by calling upon him to get his attention with those beautiful names. Okay? Listen to what one of the early scholars said. He said, a person may examine the attributes of Allah or his names without remembering them or preparing for them. Okay? And this is what the Jews and Christians do, guys. They call upon Allah when something bad happens in their life, and they ain't prepared. They haven't honored him. They haven't worshiped him, you know, and how long? Okay, but we Muslims are different. Like I said, our time throughout the day is spent remembering Allah. And by the way, remembering Allah is an act of worship. The fact that you guys are right here in my class learning, you know, this is an act of worship. You know, learning about Allah, this is an act of worship. So again, guys, for those of us who remember Allah in our daily lives as often as we can, we're the ones that develop a good relationship with him, and we trust in him and rely upon him. And just to give an example as to how we call upon Allah with the names, which we already talked about with the quiz. For example, Allah is the all-powerful. So when we call upon him, we say, "Oh Allah, the all-powerful." Okay? Oh Allah, the most merciful. Oh Allah, the most giving. Okay, but we don't call upon him, you know, with attributes saying, "Oh Allah, who sometimes forgives. Oh Allah, who sometimes withholds." We don't do that. Okay? So whenever we worship Allah, guys, when we're asking for help, bottom line, just call upon him using those names like we just talked about in the quiz, okay? And for those of us who do reach out to Allah through his beautiful names, it brings about a lot of benefits for us. For example, one of the benefits is it makes you more of a believer. It strengthens your belief in him. Your heart becomes absorbed with this faith. Your heart begins to reflect. Your heart begins to ponder and remember what your purpose is. So the more we ponder Allah's names, you know, the stronger it makes our faith. And it makes us more dependent upon Allah, where we'll end up calling upon him when we're sick, when we're healthy. We'll call upon him even if we're experiencing the diseases of doubt and uncertainties of the heart. You know, remember, guys, our personal jinn, he hovers around in our hearts while we are awake. He knows our strengths. He knows our weaknesses. He will try to push you to become depressed. He will try to push you to become uncertain or doubtful. He will push you, like he's doing some of you, to make this religion harder than it is. These classes are simple and easy, but your personal jinn wants you to make it harder on yourself. He's pushing you to overthink. Okay? You can knock that personal jinn away by, remembering the meaning of Allah's names. Okay? Also, another benefit of believing in Allah's name and attributes is the person will try to possess those attributes in a way that fits you. Allah is the most generous, and Allah loves those who are generous. So you try to be more generous. Allah is the most gentle, and he loves those who are gentle. So you will be more gentle in how you deal with your children. So if the person knows that he or she knows this, then he or she will seek to acquire the attributes. And that's why when I'm teaching the names, I ask you guys, how can you incorporate this into yourself? How can you incorporate gentleness into yourself? I'm going to be gentle with how I deal with my children. I'm going to be gentle in my relations with my husband and with my parents. I'm going to be gentle with the believers, but strict with the unbelievers. I'm going to be gentle in how I treat my patients, my clients. So that's why I'm always asking you guys, break down the meaning of the name and how can you incorporate it within yourself. Okay, this is how the Prophet taught. Okay. Also, learning the names of Allah and his attributes will also strengthen your awareness of Allah. For example, Allah is possessed of all attributes of perfection. That's majesty. These are perfect attributes. Allah is the most complete, the greatest, the most majestic. He has all-encompassing knowledge. He's omnipotent in his power. He has majestic pride and greatness, so much that the heavens and earth will be held in the palm of his hand on the day of judgment. So by you knowing these things about Allah, this is going to bring you closer to him. It's going to make you think twice before you disobey him. You know to fear him. You know to show humility before him. It'll cause you to think twice before you use your tongue with others. It'll cause you to use your tongue more praising him. It'll also cause your body parts to submit to him, to honor him. So again, these are just some of the fruits or benefits of not only just knowing what those names and attributes are, but believing in them as well. Also, it'll help you to love him, because again, you will never be a true believer until you love Allah more than you do even yourself. So learning about Allah's names and attributes, their meanings, will cause you to develop love for him. Okay? Allah is beauty. Allah loves beauty. You will look around at the creation around you, and you'll develop love for Allah and how he makes those apples so beautiful, each one different. No two apples are alike, but they're both all beautiful in their own way. Look at the grapes. Look at the peaches. Different. Some may be of a different, brighter color than others, but they're all beautiful in their own way. This will cause you to love your Lord. Okay? It'll cause you to acknowledge his blessings. Also, learning Allah's names and attributes will generate that tranquility, that sakina that Sister Jamila was speaking about. It'll make you more certain and tranquil in your journey. Your heart will continue to aimlessly wander in the valleys of unease and will get blown away by the winds of anxiety if you don't have that love and understanding of Allah. Because remember, we were put here on this earth to be tried and tested, guys. And so that's how so many people succumb to suicide. They succumb to despair, to depression, to mental illness. They break down and have mental attacks because their heart is just wandering around aimlessly because that heart doesn't have that connection to Allah, that certainty of faith, that tranquility of heart. Okay? Subhanallah. Also, learning the names and attributes of Allah will increase your iman. It will increase your faith. Also, learning Allah's names and attributes will cause you to worship Him more. You won't find it such a hardship to pray. It bothers me when I hear Muslims say, new converts say, oh, I don't like to pray. I'm too lazy to pray. You're too lazy to pray because your heart doesn't have that tranquility in it that Jamila's speaking about. Okay? It'll cause you, your awareness of Allah will cause you to want to pray, to look forward to increasing your acts of worship. And also, again, it makes you more conscious of how this world is nothing. There's nothing in this world that's worth throwing in the towel for. There's nothing in this world that compares to the hereafter. So it'll make you see the lowliness of life in this world and make you want to strive more for that better life that Allah has promised us in the hereafter. And finally, learning Allah's names and attributes and understanding their meaning will make you think better of your Lord and will cause you to expect the best. The Prophet said, don't live your life expecting the worst all the time. Okay? Expect for good things to happen and Allah will make them happen. You don't want to be one of those melancholy people that rain on everybody's parade. If you understood the meaning of Allah's names, that means your relationship with Him would be so good that you will always expect the best. You will say, oh, I leave it in the hands of Allah. I know Allah will take care of me. I'm not going to panic. I look at a person like Sabrine. Sabrine's going through a hardship right now, with that government. This is what happens when, we have to depend on the government. Okay. But subhanAllah, how do you keep yourself from having a heart attack? I'm going to leave it in the hands of Allah. I done been down this road before. Okay. I expect good. I'm not going to sit here and expect the worst to happen. I'm going to keep calling this lady and make sure she turn my paperwork in. And I'm going to expect that Allah will take care of this for me. Expect good. And you'll get good if you have that correct relationship with Allah. Okay, so these are just some of the benefits, of knowing the names and attributes of Allah. And I really like how Sheikh Atlee put this stuff in his book, because a lot of the new Muslims will ask me, Sister Layla, why are we putting so much emphasis on this? This is why. You get to know your Lord. You get to establish your relationship with Him. You become more conscious of Him and less conscious of others. You'll understand what your purpose in life is, what your mission is. You will be more apt to submit and do what He says do, and less fearful, of the people, and more fearful of not doing what He tells you to do. All right. Okay, I want to stop right here. Inshallah, the next time we meet for this class, which will be next Thursday, we're going to have a quiz on this. And I'll let you guys know, we'll probably cover the next several pages, of this book. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu